the most intense, and I'm glad we made it. And we're just gonna send it. The video's rolling. Welcome everybody to the Inner Temple. It's your host with the most, Mr. Meyer with the fire. Special guest, Miss Debbie, lover, my bestie. And we're gonna come to you with a pretty short and sweet video. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to my bestie. And today we're gonna talk about the moon and Pluto. And personally, it's a good day to bring this up for me because my Pluto's in Sagittarius. The moon is in Gemini. The moon is opposing my Pluto. I feel absolutely fucked up on the inside. And my friend Debbie has a Scorpio moon every day of her life. So like, it just is what it is. And we bless the tree with the Scorpio moon energy to bring healing and transformation. So I guess my first question for you, Queen, is like, how does it feel to be a Scorpio moon? As detailed or as simple as you can answer that. I know it's every day, but
it's complex.
I cannot relate. Yeah, my moon's in Libra. I barely missed it.
It's complex. It's ornery. It's challenging, but it's also a good teacher.
Yeah, it's not for the weak.
Yeah, for sure. You learn the hard lessons, so.
I mean, but ignorance is not blissful. So we'd rather know the lessons, rather pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, because it just keeps knocking you back down till you learn it. Thank you,
but
sir.
like, you're welcome. Like a phoenix. Pardon me. You are reborn through the ashes. I was gonna have to make a visit to my friend Albuterol.
Oh.
It's all good. I don't have to, but just so I don't
please do
cough in everybody's face today. That would be respectful.
The hospital's not far, but still.
Right. I think I can survive. I hope I can survive the Scorpio moon joint, but
I can't lift you out of here anyway. So.
It's hilarious. So we're gonna kind of talk a little bit about the moon and Pluto aspects, because whether you are a Scorpio moon or not, everybody's gonna experience moon Pluto energy, and that's insane. So we have kind of like a mind map, some notes or whatever to make sure that we stay on topic. If you are watching this and you have your Scorpio moon or you have a moon Pluto aspect, drop it in the comments so I can see who's resonating with this and relating, because
and who's having fun like me.
Yeah, who's having the best time going through the death and rebirth. So moon Pluto, the gist of this is that the moon is the heart and Pluto is the soul. And these words get thrown around a lot, but they really mean something. You know, you can go outside in the nighttime and see the moon lighting up the sky, and we have a strong connection with Luna as living beings, not just humans, but animals and plants. Everything follows the tides of the moon, even our oceans. So basically, moon governs the rhythm. It governs the cycles of the world, and it's the fastest moving body in astrology. It only takes the moon about 29 days to cycle the chart. But the crazy thing is this, guys, it takes Pluto 250 years. Good Lord. So every 2 planets have a cycle. We talk more about this in simplified astrology, but if you watch the cycle of the fastest celestial body, the moon, and the slowest celestial body, you'll see how multi-generational issues, Pluto, get integrated personally through the moon. And that's really real. Like we talked about earlier, if you happen to be a Scorpio moon, that says that in your chart, Pluto rules over your moon. So for these people, every day is enigmatic, multifaceted, deep, challenging. Ornery is what you said?
Ornery.
Yeah, ornery. Yeah, 100%. Like, a lot of us forget that being born as a human was a mortal struggle for life. And childbirth is the hardest thing ever. Life begins with violence and fear and oppression. And it's a miracle to even exist. So don't forget how traumatic being born is, because everybody on Earth has Earth trauma. And this is an important segue into our next topic, basically, is that, I guess I'm gonna ask Debbie, does Scorpio represent trauma? Yes or no? Like, what do you think? How do you relate to that? Because archetypes are one thing, but I feel called to ask because I feel that feeling.
I guess it can. I don't know. I feel like, unfortunately, it's kind of one of the lessons, or it's one of the things that we go through. More than anything. It's like,
It's part of life.
It's almost like for us, I guess it is more traumatic. And it could be for a Scorpio moon that things appear more traumatic as opposed to a different sign and how they may approach whatever may happen. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I relate to what you're saying. And I asked the question even because when I think about astrology, I feel like we compartmentalize life through the archetypes. And I consider Taurus and the Venus energy to be life and to be health and to be all the good things in life. And I have no problems with Scorpio. I love this energy. It's quite powerful, quite intense. But through polarity, that tells me Scorpio is death. It is trauma. It is the antithesis of life, you know? So that doesn't mean that Scorpio is a bad thing necessarily, but like I said, I can only imagine for somebody who lives with strong Moon Pluto aspects, how intense life can be, how they relate to life personally, and how they may have a predisposition to trauma. And that's a neutral word. There's a fascinating book by Judy Hall called The Hades Moon, and it talks about Moon and Pluto in depth. And one thing she talks about is that while this can be quite challenging for somebody, it does bring tremendous healing potential. So like Debbie was saying, it's a teacher. And if you're willing to learn and listen, you'll be blessed. But it's definitely not for the weak. So
I know a lot of Scorpio moons that tend to go through, like for me, I drowned when I was 4.
whew,
Okay, so a lot of
That's so
a lot of the
Pluto.
things that we tend to go through are real intense. I don't know. It's like,
I mean, and that's trauma.
it's kind of like a
Absolutely
pound.
traumatic.
It's just, yeah. We experience things differently. I don't know why, but yeah.
It would be great to have a dictionary here, you know, because the word trauma basically means something that's intolerable, that's unacceptable, something that can't be processed. And when we go through a trauma, it does change us. And you know, there's a list of, I'm not going to get in the list, but everybody listening could even reflect into the things that they've experienced that's affected / harm / traumatized them. And harm is maybe a word I could take back, but my point is that when we go through these events, these Pluto events, these catastrophes, crisis, power and control struggles, something is taken from us, but something is given at the same time. And it's the responsibility of the person to nurture that seed and grow. And sometimes when you're still in the space of resisting the seed, not wanting to be there, still totally unable to accept that you've been traumatized, in denial, or just, you know, in the trauma, the fight or flight, freeze, fawn, etc. You guys probably understand what I'm saying. It can be totally impossible for some people to recognize there's a seed of growth or to nurture it as well. And I think this is where you start to see people inflicting their pain on other people as opposed to healing and changing and integrating the lessons, wishing suffering upon others similarly or worse than they've experienced it. And this is a crazy conversation to even be having. So I appreciate everybody tuned in today, because my heart questions from this energy, what is the nature of evil? And at what point does it become evil? And at what point is malign force the natural gestation of our options and perspective?
What it boils down to is how we react. So all
How
these
we
things,
react.
I'm good. All
You're
these
good?
things
Word.
that we go through and stuff, it's like our lessons are learned on how we react to the things that come our way.
I believe
So
that. I see it
with
too.
all of that, it's we've got to remember how to react appropriately, and it's
Absolutely.
not just towards the other person, it's for ourselves. We owe that to ourselves.
Yes.
To be mindful
Ooh.
and to, you know, just
Absolutely. It's way deeper than just proper social and moral conduct. It deals with the evolution of one's own soul. And that's where your judgment comes into play. And this can be a difficult concept in life in general for somebody who isn't living on higher planes of being, especially those purely on the physical, going from event to event to event, not understanding cause and effect, and just being the effect of all the causes, if that makes sense. It can be difficult to recognize that you play a part in your own evolution, because this conversation shows us that multi-generational issues and unconscious factors play a part in our life and evolution. So it takes a level of power, it takes a level of strength, a level of realness, a depth, a willingness to live, to be able to confront one's suffering, take responsibility for it, and even absolve the sins of the mother and the father. Because if we haven't touched on this point yet, I want to be very clear about the moon in the heart, is this is going to relate to your family, your mom, your dad, how you were conditioned, your early childhood development. While Pluto is multi-generational, and that's going to mean this reflects the evolution of the species. Moon more so being evolution of your personal family, but evolution of your solo soul. So this is one of the most infinitely complex conversations to have in astrology. I implore you listening to take the time to find your natal Pluto sign, your natal Pluto house, understand the polarity point in the chart, which will govern your evolution truly. And this is a slight digression, but it's really not. This is the perfect day to film this video because, and I'm going to explain, this is the point actually, explain this later, because Debbie and I are going through harsh Pluto moon aspects right now. Today, I am a Pluto in Sagittarius, moon opposite Pluto. And is it Pluto Leo or is it Virgo? Am I tripping?
I don't think I have Leo.
Should
Virgo.
It's yeah, I was gonna say my first thought and my second guess was Pluto Virgo, but I'm pretty damn sure, and I look at her chart often, that's a Pluto Virgo person sitting next to me. So what that means is Pluto's moon square Pluto, Gemini square Virgo, moon opposite Pluto. We're going through some shit right now, and basically while the storm is going on inside, like it goes on for everybody because storms just happen, it's those evolved souls with the independent will to give and transform that take this pain and suffering and confusion and use it as an opportunity to integrate and grow in the world. So we're grateful to be a source of light and inspiration for whoever's watching this. You are us, and that's the beautiful thing. You have the Pluto in your chart, you have the moon in your chart, and there may be strong aspects, there might not be, but regardless, they interrelate. And there's a moon Pluto cycle, meaning that even if you don't find your moon conjunct Pluto, square Pluto, opposing Pluto, there's going to be Pluto in the moon either in the new phase, the first quarter, the full phase, the last quarter, or somewhere in between. That says a lot about your evolution. Check your mom's moon Pluto aspects, your dad's moon Pluto aspects, and then on top of that, you want to check the moon transiting like we were just talking about. Check the progression, and your life is going to make a lot of sense. And if that's a lot of nonsense, you're going to need to go to Simplified Astrology. The link is in the bio. So ultimately, what the world wants to build is a unified family dynamic. And you need to understand how the collective shadow works and plays a part in this challenge. And then you will be free. If this doesn't make sense, leave those comments in the description, in the comment section. Do you have anything else to add? Because this was intense. We're at 13 minutes now. Like,
No, just, right?
like
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I was going to say.
No, just everybody, be kind to yourselves, be graceful with yourselves. We're going through a lot of crap right now. All of us are.
Mm-hmm.
And, remember that, because you deserve it just as much as you want to give it to everyone else. So
Absolutely. I appreciate you saying that. And in true Moon Pluto spirit, remember, opening your heart may not be easy, but it will be worth it. So keep fighting. We love you. Peace.